everybody. Good afternoon, panelists. Welcome to the center stage at W.Media, 5th edition of the Chennai Cloud and Data Center Convention 2026. We've all watched the massive central data center hubs grow over the last decade. But right now, in 2026, the gravity of data is shifting as AI integrates into every aspect of business, waiting for a round trip to a distant server, isn't it? But we are witnessing a massive transition from hyperscale to hyperlocal, driven entirely by the need for specialist compute right from where the action happens. To help us untangle this, I'm joined by three pioneers who are actively architecting India's next generation infrastructure. Let's have a big round of applause for our panelists. Instead of a traditional bio reading, I'm going to go through them straight into the first debate and let them introduce themselves through their answers. The first question is, in 2026, reality check, and we're going to talk about the speaker's introduction. The first question is, getting started with the big picture. So we've spent years talking about AI pilots. In 2026, is inference at the edge finally moving from a technical experiment to a massive top-line revenue driver for India enterprises? So Piyush, let's start with you. Tell us, the audience, briefly about what you do at Vultr and give us your take on whether the money is finally flowing into the edge inference.
Hi, and thank you so much for inviting me. My name is Piyush Gupta. I work for a company called Vultr. Vultr is world's largest privately held cloud computing platform. It has 25 years of operating history with 32 data centers around the world. Soon will be 34. 33rd is actually announced in Milan last week. And we have 220,000 active paying customers who consume this platform from 185 countries. In India, we have 3 points of presence, that is regions data centers at Bombay, Delhi, and Bangalore. And we have a lot of paying customers in India as well. And AI cloud, which is GPU cloud and CPU cloud, both are very close to us. So we have practices around CPU business and GPU business in India and around the world. And I run business for India, Middle East, and Asia Pacific for Vultr. I am based in Mumbai in India. Coming to your question, is edge happening? See, Gartner and other agencies have been forecasting that 25% of the revenue or the 25% of the traffic or data will move to the edge, and which is now almost hitting a reality. And inference will be the biggest use case. So wherever you have massive data being produced and consumed in real time and needs to be processed in real time, edge comes into play. With the advent of AI, the number of such use cases with this framework are growing exponentially. So with this, whether it is self-driving cars or drones or payment fraud detection system or putting an ad into a video stream and hyperlocal, so all these cases around ad tech, AR, VR, surveillance, healthcare, autonomous driving, Industry 4, autonomous manufacturing, and around payments, especially around fraud detection and verification, these all will be the drive, weather forecasting, hyperlocal farming. So these all will be the cases where the data will be produced and consumed in near real time. So it has to be processed there and then, which is nothing but edge. Now edge can reside in the premises or in a nearby location. So that is a debate. There is no formal definition of an edge. Even your mobile phone device is an edge. A server residing in a factory can be an edge, or a server residing in a telecom tower in the near vicinity can also be an edge. But edge has arrived. Inferencing will take over substantial part of the AI revenue, and in which edge will have a large role to play, especially to serve low latency applications. So it's here, it's real.
Thank you, Piyush. That was an incredible perspective on scale. Now, moving on to Manoj. Manoj, we would like to hear your perspective about the whole groundbreaking success of your Utho as an organization, and also introduce yourself to the audience.
My name is Manoj Dhanda. I am founder of Utho platforms. We known as Deska AI Cloud. So we promote sovereign AI cloud in India. We always encourage people move from hyperscalers, bring data back to this Indian nations, and you can have the control on your data, your models, your proprietary tools, which you might be built for next 4 to 5 years. And uh, the agenda is only one. After 2 or 3 of hard work from a startup or an enterprises, it should not be catlogged, not be get suspended from any hyperscalers. So our only aim and vision is to bring data back to the India so that people can have the control on the data, on the cost, on the organizations which is running that follow the Indian laws. So we normally deal in CPU compute and GPU compute. Almost 80% of the product what the hyperscalers is offering. So we actually empowering the enterprises and startups. They can confidently move data from outside India to India.
Perfect. Now let's move on to Kiran. Kiran, as CEO at CoEdge Cloud, this is quite literally your home turf, I believe. So give us your introduction and your boots on the ground reality to the audience.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Kiran. I'm founder and CEO of CoEdge Cloud Platform. Basically, we are building AI cloud platform which will deliver inference and to the user closer so that data will be retained at their own premises or maybe close by so that they can utilize compute very locally. In addition to the previous question, I would like to add few topics here. As Piyush rightly said, uh, we spent years to train the models, LLM models, but the real game is inferencing, where it lies. I mean, after uh, training the models, where the users are accessing that. So it is going to be accessed from anywhere, and to access that data, we need that trained model to be at edge so that inference will happen and people will feel that real inferencing technology at edge. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kiran. So the commercial momentum is clearly there. But let's look at what's really running on these missions. So I'm going to move on to the next question. Which use cases are creating the strongest demand for GPU cloud at the edge today? And where are you seeing the biggest opportunities emerge? Manoj, let's reverse the order and start with you this time. What industries are knocking on Utho's doors demanding edge GPUs?
We saw a lot of customer experience organizations who are using voice bots, a lot of banking organizations. Now people are moving from, before 2 years, the moment was let's test something, how things are getting worked. Now people are moving to the productions. So not only from one language, multiple languages in India, which was very difficult if someone running a call center or telephony solutions. Now people able to do with the AI bots, they can speak to the customer language, provided multiple options. This is one use case heavily using. Second is in the medical chain system, where people build the system for the medicals, for the health sectors. That is also is something we see moving from training to now production and the inferencing workloads. I believe in next 1 year, almost 60% of the organizations will bring their workflows on the AI. They will set up their agentic dashboards, not only just dashboards, but something like you will able to see similar to that people sitting in the office working for you. Similar, you will able to see an experience in the agentic AI. So that is something the people using like open cloud tools, putting everything on the open source, putting their own virtual machines, having the GPUs. Another thing I see, people are moving from the GPU cloud to inferencing one. They are now start demanding for the inferencing APIs. Like we launched one Gen AI platform. It will be launched publicly in just few weeks. So we see a lot of attraction around that as well. that they don't want to commit for the GPU for next 3 to 6 months. They want to utilize the APIs to just inference whatever they want from their models, and that's it. So people are moving from long commitments to the short commitments. This is the same that we see in the servers ecosystem. We were doing the data center work in-house, then moved to the data centers, then bare metal machines, then people moved to cloud. Now the same story is going to be on the GPU.
Excellent. That was fascinating response. Kiran, we move to you. How does what Manoj said align with what you're deploying in your company?
Yeah, rightly said. I mean, yeah, it's completely aligned with the strategy. So far, use cases are something like that. Manufacturing industry, then startups are the major player where they require a GPU access, and still it is not yet democratized. I mean, from price point of view, the GPU access is restricted to a lot of trainings. And once it is democratized, I guess the real power will come out of that, and real use cases will be available to access. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Piyush, moving on to you. So looking at this from a Vultr's expansion footprint across India and the APAC region, what is the high impact use cases that are really surprising you the most now?
See, the edge was always there, but with the advent of AI, the potency of the edge has increased, so the adaptability has increased. Let's go industry-wise. Manufacturing. So industry 4, industry 5, robotics, moving in the factory are all edge application, computer vision, surveillance, and everything around security, where it is real-time work happening, proximity test, nearness to a forklift. So if you see a guy within, say, 1 meter from a forklift, immediately an alarm has to go to the forklift driver to stop his machine, or the guy will collide into the machine. So this is an application. With the GPU not being there or AI not taking advancement, this was not so easy to create, so such use cases did not find practice. So it was all reactive, diagnostic. Now it is real-time, predictive. So within a factory, manufacturing, there can be innumerable use cases. Whatever you can imagine is a use case. Oil spill. Suppose a barrel of oil spills and the camera locates on the floor that the oil has spilled. It will immediately match the image with the metadata and say there is an oil spill, and the command will go to the maintenance guy to clear it immediately. Otherwise, somebody will come and slide. Emergency exits. If the emergency exits have drums or material trashed, immediately the camera will catch that this pathway has to be clear. So it will again do the same and give an exit. So manufacturing, agriculture. When you say crop production, spraying the fertilizer, so the camera at the drone will exactly identify which crop needs what kind of production, and accordingly it will go and sprinkle the pesticide there locally. So taking this image, referencing it with the server, giving the command, and then whether dispensing the fertilizer or the crop production chemical or not is all an hyper edge driven location. Autonomous driving will find its way in India also sooner or later, and that is the mother of all use cases of the edge. So you will find edge at every 100 meters. I don't know where all. Recently we saw one OEM of GPU who's trying to set up edge-like devices like your split air conditioners. At every house they will put a mini compute unit, in which I am sure will be connected through a Wi-Fi or equivalent, so that edge computing can move everywhere instead of a data center. And they will consume the electricity from the household, and they will pay a rent to hang that equipment on the wall and the metered power bill of that, and so on. Fraud detection in the financial services. Suppose a payment has been initiated from my phone for 100 rupees to you, and within 3 minutes a similar payment gets initiated from Bombay to you. So this will reference the metadata, my geo coordinates, your geo coordinates. There is impossible that within 3 minutes I can reach Bombay, so that my phone has been hacked at that point, and it will stop that payment from happening. Ad tech. While you are watching the video in Chennai, the Chennai ads start coming. So it takes up the geolocation from your thing, and then when you are passing through this Chennai corridor, they will pop up the real estate advantages of Chennai, and likewise. So So in that, they reference the environmental data, the metadata, and your personal data. When I say personal data, is not personal identifiable data, but locations like you are in Chennai city and so on. And accordingly, the ads and the feeds will start coming to you. So these were all there nascently. Now they will come in the forefront as applications and in more powerfully. So all of them will find usage, and GPUs and companies like Vultr will help massify this edge to almost everywhere. And that's we have a game to play, and I'm here for you that only.
Thank you so much, Piyush. That was quite interesting. So we are moving on to the last question for our session today. And let's now talk about the physical reality. We are sitting here in Chennai, a massive data center hub. But when we move to the edge, things get tricky. So I'm going to go on to Kiran, and I would like to hear, understand the perspective from you. Building a hyper-local site is very different from building a massive campus. Are our regional data centers truly ready for the power density and specialized cooling that a rack of H100s and B200s require at the edge?
Yeah, I mean, the question is very interesting. Yeah, so if we see the landscape of Indian data centers, were traditionally built to hold the workload up to 5 to 10 or maybe probably maximum 20 kilowatt per rack. But when it comes to the GPU to host H100, 200 or Blackwell series, we need massive rack density, and that needs to be developed. For that, different technologies are being utilized. I mean, liquid cooling is there, immersion cooling is there, and at edge, definitely we can utilize those latest technologies, because at edge, the data centers are look like a micro data centers where we'll have only enough capacity to serve the customers locally, and this is how it will, utilize the recent technology.
Thank you for the perspective, Kiran. It's a massive engineering challenge. And Piyush, how is Vultr navigating these physical footprint constraints when deploying heavy iron like NVIDIA GPUs at the regional edge?
So see, edge has many definitions, and there is no one clear formal definition even till date. I told earlier in the meeting also that your mobile phone can be an edge, the server residing in your office can be an edge, a server in the vicinity can be an edge, or a data center at Siruseri or Ambattur, any of these data center corridors can also be an edge. So depending on the quantum of data, the near real timeness will define which of these edges will be the edge for the relevant use case. So surely there is development happening on semiconductor side on the temperature resistance, and they will consume less and less power as we go along, because this cannot be the way to go forever, especially with edge taking the center stage. So there is development in silicon, there is development in semiconductor devices who will consume less power ultimately on one hand, and those devices, instead of having very, very concentrated power at the data center, that will remain as the hub. But these edges will be less power consuming, more efficient, and more relevant to the immediate use case, and they will be deployed at the back of telco. Telco towers will one more time become very important digital infrastructure enablers, which was always there, and this will bring telecom to the limelight and the forefront one more time. And there are enough examples. I will not take any because names of companies are not in my purview. But there are examples of telecoms hosting a hyperscaler in a country where all those mini edges are put within 200, 300 towers in that city or in that vicinity. So something similar will here. So telco will give you the underlying infra of fiber connectivity, power readiness, UPS, and you will host your edge device into that notch. The power capability of tower will go up on one side, and on the other, the power consumption of the device will be reduced. So they will find a perfect sweet spot, and that is when it will explode.
So Manoj, moving on to you, what's your take? Is the infrastructure readiness holding us back from a speed perspective?
I believe yes. All the data center is ready to host the large number of GPUs in a rack with the high density, like Kiran said. Data center are already rebuilding themselves to upgrade the power of the racks. Altogether, what I understand is, if we go beyond this, what is going to happen if I take my last take? So to 20 years in the digital ecosystem was not ours. But I believe next 20 years will belong to India. And everyone from the data center to cloud providers to the OEM who building in the India understand this. So they already adding the capacity. That can be the power, that can be maybe like the edge cases to building the small data centers nearby small cities. So people are doing it. We just need to look at the picture from the different lens that next 20 years will be of India. We will be taking back our data control. We will be going to host the models in India. We will not going to depend on the foreign providers. So this is something you will see, I will see, and the next generation which is coming, we will see that how India is building the technology. And yes, for your questions, India is ready for any kind of workloads can related to power or the density.
That's a wonderful perspective, Manoj. And what great is that about wrapping this up by saying that next 20 years is going to be of India, and there's a lot more work to do for all of us in terms of innovation and how we think and how we do. So with that, we wrap this panel discussion, and I would like to thank our wonderful panelists very much for your perspective, for your thought leadership, and for coming up to the stage. Let's give a very big round of applause to our panelists
Thank
today
you.
as we close the session. Thank you.